Hey guys, in the previous video we talked about HTML tags and HTML comments. And in this video we're going to talk about the head tag and the body tag. But before we get to those, we need to put one more thing in here, and that is the Doctype Declaration. And what this does is it tells your browser which version of HTML to use, which is HTML5. It tells the browser to use the newest version of HTML. And if you don't have this in your document, the browser is not going to know which version of HTML to use. So this is very important to have in your document. That should be the first line of code. It's not going to see this comment, right? It's going to see this first. So that should be the first readable line for the browser. Okay, so in your HTML block, you're not normally going to have floating text like this. Really, there's only two things that you're going to have within this HTML block, typically. And that's going to be the head tag block and the body tag block. So this is your basic HTML anatomy here. And the head is always going to be above the body, which makes sense. So what's the difference between these two? The body tags output things to the viewport. It outputs everything that goes into the viewport. So for instance, this is the viewport. Everything below this search bar, everything below this section up here, all this white space, including this hello, goodbye, this is the viewport. So for instance, that hello, goodbye that we had before would be going into the body tags. So what exactly is going to be going into the head tags? The head tags are mainly for metadata, but the head tags are also for output that will go outside of the viewport. And that would be something like this title up here that appears in the tab bar, or it could be something like this favicon, which is this little image. For instance, Google Play's favicon is this circle with this note in it. So you can define what that image is in the head. You're not defining that in the body tag because it's not going into the viewport. So the viewport is basically your body. The head tag will output things that are not going in the body, like the title and the favicon. And it's also outputting, or sorry, it's not outputting, but it's also for storing metadata. And what is metadata? Metadata is basically data about other data. It's information about other data. So metadata for HTML will be optimizing or augmenting your page in the back end, and you might not be able to see it, but it will be doing things that will optimize your page for a variety of browsers. So it might say, when you're on this browser, do this. When you're on this browser, do this. If you're viewing this website on this device, do this. It could say, there are more files related to this website and you need to check this location, so on and so forth. That's metadata. So that's going to go into the head tag. So let's give an example of something that will go into the head tag that is going to output outside of the viewport. And that is the title tag. And you can put basically anything in there that you want, whatever you want to call your website. I'm putting Deconstructed coding. And the title tag changes the title within the browser tab of your page. So this is what I mentioned before. It's this thing right here. That is where you control the title. And now you're not going to put that into the body because it's not going into the viewport. You're putting it into the head because it's going outside of the viewport. And notice something else that I haven't mentioned yet. Notice that I haven't indented the head or the body tag. I'm not going to indent these because that's really all you're going to be putting into the HTML tag. So I don't think there's really any need to indent here, and I think you should start indenting once you get into this head tag or once you get into the body tag. I think that's clean enough. So let's go ahead and save this and see what this does. Command S or Control S to save, and then refresh. There you go. So it's changed what the title is here.